Morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here this morning to share with you some more from the book of Proverbs. Today, I'd like to read in the third chapter and the first couple of verses. Here's what it says. My child, never forget the things I've taught you. Store my commands in your heart. If you do this, you will live many years and your life will be satisfied. Never let loyalty and kindness leave you. Tie them around your neck as a reminder. Write them deep in your heart. Then you will find favor with God. Well, Proverbs, as I've said, is a book about life. It's a book about little sections, little bits of information, things we should do, some things we shouldn't do to live. It's a very practical book. It gives you directions and all kinds of things. And this passage starts out and says, never forget the things I have taught you. Well, now, if you've never read the Bible or read the teachings of Jesus or read things in Proverbs, well, then I guess you don't know what they are, so forgetting them is not the issue. The issue would be learn them in the first place. But let's assume somewhere you've at least had a few things from God in your life. And if you haven't, I would urge you to seek it out. I mean, what have you got to lose? So it says, never forget these things. Store my commandments in your heart. Well, in Jewish days, in Old Testament days, and really even in today's world, we see the heart as the center of the person. Now, physiologically, we know that the heart is just a pump. That's all it is. It's a rather important pump, to say the least, and I can assure you that, having had mine worked on from the inside out. Uh, but it's just a pump. The brain is the center of everything, including our emotions and our knowledge. But physiologically is not the point of this. The point is where people saw and believed that what was in their heart is what really mattered. And I think that is true today. What is at the center of your core tells us who you are. If it's anger, we see it. Maybe you don't, but everybody else does. If it's kindness, well, we see that too. If it's speaking your mind because you have the right to say it, is at the center of you, then you'll say things that what you want to say, I guess. And if they hurt somebody, well, they just hurt them. You exercised your right to say them. But if wisdom is the center of who you are, you might curtail what comes out of your mouth every once in a while. So what it says here, store my commandments in your heart. And if you do this, you will have many years and your life will be satisfied. Now, I don't know anybody. I've never met anybody. I'm sure there's someone out there. I've never met anybody who didn't want a satisfying life. Now, many didn't know how to get it. Many never got it. Many did everything they could to prevent it, but they wanted a satisfying life. And I've never met people who didn't want to live a long time. Now, maybe they didn't want to get really old and physically unable to do things, but I've never met anybody who wanted to die in their 20s or 30s or 40s. I've known some who did, but it wasn't their choice. And so this verse, these two verses here say the key to long life and satisfying life is understanding, keeping, and storing God's directions in your life. And then he goes on and gives two specific things. Never let loyalty and kindness leave you. What is loyalty? Well, loyalty is being honest. It's having integrity. It's sticking to what you say. Now, I don't know about you, but I get so tired of these politicians on either side of the political spectrum because they say one thing this time and the next situation they say the exact opposite, and then they deny that they said the other thing the first time. They just say whatever comes out of their mouths that looks like people will get excited about. And I don't like that. And I don't respect that. And you know what? Very few people do. So Proverbs got it right a long, long time ago when it said, never let loyalty leave you and never let kindness leave you. Now, I know being kind may not get you the best financial reward. I've been there. Being kind may not mean that you win whatever the fight's about. But being kind will always enable you to know in your heart you did the right thing. Even if others are telling you you were crazy, being kind trumps everything else. Now, if that's true, why don't more people do it? It says, if you do this, and you let them remind you, and even it says time around your neck if you have to, then you will find favor with God and people. Why don't people do that? Well, I guess it's just a mystery. I know it's called sin, and we live in a sinful world. But even though we live in the sinful world, and even though you and I are going to sin, we can still prioritize loyalty and kindness. And if we don't make it to the standard we want, okay, we'll try it again the next time. But don't let your standard be anything less. Kindness and compassion is way up here on the scale of values. Don't swap it for something that's way down there, like getting your own way. Well, that's what Proverbs tells us today. I hope it helps you. If you have a need or a prayer concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about a couple more things. God bless you.